At this time, we have Councilwoman Quaylar to give us the invocation.
Let us pray. Father, we come before you as community gathered, seeking your blessings, your wisdom, your guidance in all that we do this evening. We also ask and give you thanks for the blessings that you bestow upon us today and every day, for each of us individually as well as our community as a whole. We pray for those who can't be with us here tonight. We ask that you keep them safe and grant them your blessings as well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilwoman Quaylar. Roll call, Councilman Quaylar.
Here,
Box.
I'm here.
Councilman Aaron Sims.
Here.
And Councilman London present. And Councilman Spive is on hiatus, and no phone service somewhere, so we just want to pray for his safety wherever he might be. At this time, we're going to have someone to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of June 7th, 2022.
motion to approve the minutes.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Get someone to approve the bills, current bills.
I make a motion we approve the current bills of $336,425.25.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At this time, we have professional consultant reports at this time. Mayor, your report.
First of all, I'd like to say good evening to everyone, and I'm glad that you all could come out to the council meeting on tonight. I will go ahead and get directly into my report. First of all, do you all want to hear me sing tonight? Well, before I get into my report, I wanted to wish Mr. Max Chandler happy birthday. Max is 90 years old. He's been a pillar in the community. He owns Chandler Garage.
Yeah.
So he's been here for quite some time. So Max, I was going to sing happy birthday to you, but the crowd told me that I couldn't do it, but I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Also, I wanted to on June the 10th, we had movie night at Beacon Park. It was a very good turnout for that. The kids really enjoyed it. And also we're having movie night this Friday night. If you are a Indiana Jones fan, it's a almost messed up and said it that we were having adult movie night, but we're having movies for adults on June the 24th, and it's Indiana Jones. So if there's anybody out there, I don't want you to try to twist it and say that the mayor said something else, but we're having movies for adults on June the 24th. On June the 25th, we're having an event at Classic Car Motoring. It's a cornhole tournament that is being sponsored by our wonderful police department and police chief, Jason Wiggins. We invite you to come by, and if you haven't signed up to have a team for that, to be able to participate in that, we would love for you to be able to do that as well. On June the 11th, we had a skills camp at Shays Valley High School. We had approximately 155 kids to show up to that event to be able to show us what their gifts are in the athletic arena and where they would like to participate as we move forward in the city of Irondale. I also want to say on June the 28th, I think there's a coaches and parent meeting that's going to be held here at City Hall at 6 o'clock. Also, we're going to have the message with the mayor on July the 3rd. At 3 o'clock. So hopefully you all will be able to tune in for that, to be able to hear what is going on in your city. And also on July the 7th, we're starting the mayor's monthly prayer meeting. It's going to be held on Thursday, July 7th 9 a.m. at Church of the Highlands. We're actually going to be able to do this for the next 6 months or to the end of the year. We try to identify a place that we can go on a regular basis instead of bouncing around from church to church. But I encourage you all to come out to that event. I truly believe that the reason that the city of Irondale is receiving the blessings that we have received over the last 19 months is because we have an individual or a creator on high that has his hands on the city, and we want to be able to continue to stay on our knees to be able to give him the glory as we move our city forward. My last thing is I think everybody knows about what happened in the community with Mr. Bart Rainey that was killed on last week. His funeral was today at 11 o'clock at the church. I stopped by several times to try to just connect with them and to let them know that we were here, the city was with him. However, we have created a proclamation for him that I would like to read tonight. And we will always also take this proclamation by their home when it's the proper time to be able to do that. But before I do that, I would just like to ask everybody that if you would bow your heads for about 30 seconds, just to be able to send up whatever you feel that you need to send up to the Lord, that we can begin to move beyond all of these senseless killings with guns and all this kind of stuff, that we can get our country to turn from its wicked ways. That's Chronicles 2:7-14. If my people that are called for my name will turn from their wicked ways, the Lord says that he will heal our land. So I just ask that you would join me for about 30 seconds before I get ready to read this proclamation. Okay, thank you. The proclamation read, whereas Walter Bartlett Rainey, known to many as Bart, tragically lost his life at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in Vestavia Hills, Alabama on June the 16th, 2022, along with 2 other citizens. Whereas Bart finally hours were spent in one of his favorite places on earth, St. Stephen's Episcopal Church, a place that welcomes everyone with love. Whereas in his last act on earth, Bart extended the hand of community and fellowship to a stranger, regardless of the outcome. Whereas Bart is remembered by his Irondale neighbors as the nicest gentleman anyone could have met. Whereas Bart graduated from Greenville High School in 1955 and attended Southwest College and Troy University. Whereas Bart built a successful career in the forest products industry. Whereas after 2 years of service in the U.S. Army, Bart married Linda Foster in 1961 and enjoyed 61 years of marriage. Whereas Bart will be deeply missed and his legacy will live on in the hearts of his wife, children, and grandchildren. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that I, James Douglas Stewart, Jr., Mayor of the City of Irondale, issue this proclamation in remembrance of the life and legacy of Walter Bart Rainey, in witness whereof I have signed and sealed on the 22nd day of June 2022. And I would say my last announcement is that we have Mr. Brett Isom here with us from the Regional Planning Commission. Several months ago, we commissioned the Regional Planning Commission to redraw the district lines for the city of Irondale. Brett wanted to come before the council and to give you an update on that task.
We've been reviewing and assessing the conditions of the current voting districts for the city of Irondale, which were previously adopted back. The end of each census, federal and Alabama State Code encourages municipalities that have a single member voting system to review and update their districts according to the most recent City same data that's used for congressional reapportionment and all of that. Just to throw some city stats at you, citywide, your population here since 2010 increased by 1,148 residents. That's about 9% population increase. The white population increased by 677, the non-white by 471. Interestingly, the percentages within the city really didn't change. They're both respectively 57%, 40%. The Black or African American population, which is a component of the non-white, decreased by about, but those who fill out their census form and check other or two or more races, that category increased by about 732. I thought it was interesting as well that the Hispanic population increased by about 604. I brought, I'm missing one person. These are maps. I didn't want to bring giant wall maps, and I didn't want to do 8.5 by 11 because you wouldn't see a lot of street detail to it.
Thank you.
So I ran them at 17 by 22. The first one labeled existing conditions. That's the way council districts look at the moment. Bottom of each map or some corresponding statistics, I will go ahead and point out the deviation total on the existing conditions map. It's wrong. I just looked at it. I noticed that this afternoon. It was too late for me to go print new ones, but all the rest of the information is correct. Deviation percentage is kind of the important one anyway. In updating this information, we try to accomplish as much as practical equal population per district. We recommend plus or minus 5%. Additionally, we try to preserve or expand any existing minority districts, which the city of Iredell has 2. You look at the existing conditions information, the deviations. District 1 has the highest deviation at 19%. By the way, your magic number per district is 2,690. So if you feel compelled to go back and see what the actual deviation total is, you can use that number. But the percentages are correct. District 1 was over 19%, District 2 over 14%, District 3 slightly under by about 6%, District 4 under by about 16%, and District 5 under by about. If you want to flip over to the first map option, just attempting to provide some geographic constraint to the districts. Knowing that the percentages probably aren't ideal and it's the one that's going to look least like the districts look today. But I just wanted to include it because it is a viable option. Districts 1 and 5 are the minority districts. You see those non-white percentages. Probably that percentage is less than what can be accomplished. but it is right at 50%. District 5 is at about 56%. The second option, by the way, District 5, there's really not a lot I it kind of exists and it's a lot. And there's only one direction it can go to populations. So once I got that one worked out, it stayed put. So there is no change in District 5 in any of these. District 2, minor, very minor. But in option 2, District 1, all of the deviations are plus or minus 5%. The non-white populations increased to 54% in District 1 and again at about 56% for District 5. And then the final option again, all the deviations are plus or minus 5%. Increased up to 53%, and District 5 again is 6. Yes, the existing conditions, District 1 is just half a percent. It's 51%.
Did you take any, so you're strictly basing off of numbers from 2020? So the fact that there's stuff being built right now where we know there will be residents has nothing to do with this. Well, you haven't, that's not taken into account at all, correct?
It's not, but it could be in the event that, and most of that kind of bumps between districts 1 and 3, I think. Is that right? And
Yes.
most of the growth was in 1. Grants Mill, that area.
That's correct.
Yeah, so if there was an option where District 1 and 3 perhaps were negative deviations, it would be better. Because it would give them room to absorb some of the future growth. And I guess my preference, I suppose, is to maybe get on a workshop agenda for sometime next month. Give you guys time to digest this and go home and study it. I can come back and answer any additional questions. I'd like for the council to kind of settle on a single option, at which time I will create a person-based version of that option. And the city can hold a public hearing on it.
Okay, thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
That ends my report. Council Pro Tem London.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, we'll have reports from our department heads. No department heads report. Do you want to talk about? He mentioned it. That's okay. You good? That's enough. That's enough information for the cornhole. All right. At this time, we have our councilman report. Councilwoman Cuellar.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I've got a couple of announcements to make. One of them is a shout out to Laura Brooks Keyser and the Roywood neighborhood for the amazing and wonderful work that they are doing here in Irondale at the Grow More, Give More Garden. Grow More, Give More, this project is a program of the Alabama Cooperative Extension Service. And Laura Brooks Keyser stated that she started this project and working with them. And the Roywood neighborhood, they've been helping Miss Keyser with this worthy project, and they donate all of the produce from this garden. So while the Alabama Cooperative Extension says you just grow one row and that one row you give to those who have a need, they give everything from that garden to those who have a need for vegetables. She noted that they've donated 2,000 pounds of produce from June 2020 to February of 2022. And earlier today, Ms. Keyser took another 4 large bags of produce that she harvested from the garden to donate. So, I mean, this is a wonderful work that they're doing, and I want to give a shout out to them, thank them for coming together, because even in the current state that we're in, there is a need, even a greater need, and they're helping to fulfill that need for vegetables that they're good for all of us. The second thing I wanted to note is that we're having an Economic Development Strategic Planning Committee meeting tomorrow. And we're doing it because this is part of our Economic Development Academy classes that part of the council members, Councilmember Fox and Sims and myself, as well as Mayor Stewart, and 2 CDA directors, Chairman David Pugh, as well as Director Paul Saucier. We've been going to these classes, and one of the things that was one of our goals, and it was good because it was also confirmed by the folks that are putting on these classes for us, said that we needed to have an economic development strategic plan. And so this meeting tomorrow will be the first one that we hold, and it will consist of all of the names that I've noted so far. And we'll also have our city clerk treasurer, Lee Allison, that's a part of this team, as well as the chamber council president, Sheila Kent, that will be participating as well. It is open to the public. You are welcome to come. It's tomorrow here in council chambers at 6 p.m. because it's not our strategic plan, but it's everybody's strategic plan. And this will give you an opportunity to hear what it is that we're going to be discussing as where we want Irondale as far as an economic development, looking at it from that angle. And our guide, of course, for this will be our blueprint Irondale that was approved by the council last year. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you.
London.
Thank you. Councilman Box.
Thank you, sir. Well, good evening, everybody. Glad to see you guys here again. It's always good to see citizen engagement and getting involved in the things that are going on. My neighborhoods, we've got a project coming up in Mountain Lake Estate that's supposed to be starting pretty soon. We're still pursuing some of the things in Heritage Place for everybody that are looking for, and I encourage any of the other neighborhoods, please reach out to me with your neighborhood presidents or your neighborhood association so we can see what things you want us to work on. With that, that's all my reports.
Thank you, Councilman Sims.
Thank you for everybody for being here. Hope everyone's having a great summer, and we'll just keep moving along.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to echo just one thing about the movie night coming up this weekend. Free popcorn, free hot dogs, lemonade, sponsored by District 1. And there will be also games, including a couples challenge. And the challenge is, how well do you know your spouse or your mate or your friend? And with some really nice prizes. The game starts at 7 and the movie begins at 8:15. So that's this Friday night, starting at 7 o'clock at Beacon Park. All right. At this time, do we have reports from our boards or non-council committees? All right, we'll get ready to go into our agenda. You notice we have a couple of public hearings on our agenda tonight. Also, we have 3 items on our consent agenda, and then we have 4 items on our regular agenda, and we will deliberate them one by one as we go along. At this time, could I get someone to get us into public hearing?
Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The City Council of City of Irondale will hear comments from interested citizens concerning a proposed change of zoning for property located at 4688 Overton Road, Irondale, Alabama, 35210 from C1 Commercial District to a C2 Commercial District. At this time, do we have anyone that's in favor of this zone change?
Councilman London,
Yes.
the individual who requested this rezoning is the one that's out there on the phone.
He's outside. He's the one that won the scooter. Oh, there he comes. Okay. All right. That's okay. Yes. At the microphone over there, yes.
Briefly, my wife,
Could you state your name just for the records?
my name is Frank Skidmore, and school, which is a swim coaching or swim teaching company. My wife and her colleagues teach 9-month-old children how not to drown. Frankly, she probably saved more lives than I have recently. We're planning on building a swim pool on the location of that lot. In order to allow the whole lot to gel together with the parking and things like that. It was sold as two parcels, C2 and C1, and we're simply connecting those parcels and making them all C2. They could all be C1 as well for our purpose, but I think C2 is about to be the most reasonable application. Really, there's not much more to it than that. We're just trying to learn the lot.
Thank you. Councilman, any question from the council?
No questions.
No question.
I'm just curious, I mean, everything goes according to plan, when do you expect, or when do you hope to be, I guess, open and operating?
January timeframe, but I think we also understand this reality, because the approval process for various things occur, and so I think the build will happen pretty quickly, but then there's a process where inspectors come in for the pool and that's.
Thank you.
Would this be an indoor pool? And what size? What size?
And right now we're thinking 21 by 50. We thought about 21 by 75, but I think 21 by 50 is enough to get 4 or 5 instructors going. So we expect it to be busy because my wife is probably running over 500 families. What they do right now, we expect it to go.
Anything else on the site besides the swimming pool?
We were considering putting tennis courts on there. We went through a wetlands mitigation, and it became clear to us that it would be good for us to start with the swim concept to get it going, as opposed to trying to complete the due diligence. So our tennis coach will perhaps come in later. We've left space for him. But we know we can do the swim concept and make it go, and we'll let that other stuff.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Is there anyone that wants to speak against this public hearing? Yes. Let's come to the microphone and give your name and information. Okay. Thank you.
There's no margin one room, and people operating on it, despite the speed limit being 40. It's a very dangerous place to drive. And I understand that's a
Jefferson County maintained road. It's in sore need of an extra bike lane, parking space. So my issue has to do with increased traffic, danger to the community there. Mitchell's Place is right next to it, which already has a lot of families, children. So just, if you would keep in mind, there is a traffic hazard already in place. The concept sounds great. That's something that we really need for the community. But I would like to see addressed first the road hazard, the speeding, the fact that there is no margin on the side of the road. If there's ever an issue, there's no way to get off the road to get around the traffic problem. So there's just some issues to think of ahead of time. But I do like the term. What's your company?
My wife's company is
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else against this public hearing? Can I get a motion to close?
I just have
Question.
one question.
Okay.
Now, since this has been brought up, do we have a traffic count? Have we done a traffic count on that road?
That wouldn't be our job
Be
to
Jefferson
to do a traffic count. Yeah, it's not our road, but that would be. I mean, to be honest with you, Councilwoman Cuellar, I don't really have the answer to that. I mean, that is already a pretty heavily traveled road. So I don't know if that would be, well, best thing I need to do is let me refer that to engineering and for them to be able to provide us with an answer if that needs to be done.
Thank you.
Any more question?
No more questions.
Can I get a motion to close public?
Motion to close public hearing.
All right. Got a motion to open up again?
Motion to open the second public hearing on the agenda.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The city of Vinedale, the city council of the city of Vinedale will hear comments from interested citizens concerning ordinance 2022-11 to modify existing zoning ordinances related to the mini warehouse or self-service storage facility located within the city of Irondale. At this time, if there's anyone who's for this public hearing. Is there anyone against? Can I get a motion to close?
Motion to close public hearing on the second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At this time, we'll deliberate on agenda items. Can I get someone to approve the agenda as form as it is?
Motion to approve the agenda in its current form.
Second.
Can I get, we have public, at this time, public comments on agenda items only.
Did we skip a
Deliberate.
step?
Yep.
Oh, excuse me, let me stop there.
Point of
Now-
order, Council President, because Legal would like to speak to you.
Okay, yes. Okay. Can I get a motion that we vote on the form of the agenda as is?
Yes, motion to accept the agenda
Agenda as
as
is.
is.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we're ready to move forward. Public comments on agenda item only. Yes.
We should deliberate first.
I'm sorry. We have to deliberate first. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get out of here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Page two, a little.
I'm sorry. All right. We have a 3 items on the consent agenda.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right. Resolve the resolution 2022 R107 fixes cost of demolition and removal of the structure located at 1586 Hillside Drive, Irondale, Alabama, in amount of $4,103.81. And that's McDaniel or Doss, and they're not here. Any comments on this item?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment, and the first is, I'm very grateful to the abatement board as well as Chief McDaniel and our building inspector, and bringing this before us. they are doing a terrific job to make sure that our city and neighborhoods are clean and look nice for the good of the entire community. So I'm very grateful to them for doing this. That's all I have to say.
Councilman Box?
Just echoing Councilwoman Quaylar's already said comments, I won't get redundant.
All right. Councilman Sims?
I guess just clarifying, this has already been demolished and now we're just approving the pay the bill.
Mm-hmm.
This would just be assessing.
Assessing the cost to it.
I was pretty sure I've seen the address before. Okay. I'm good.
All right, and I'm on good also. We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Okay. All right, resolve the resolution 2022 R108, authorize the execution of 2 lease amendments with Grants Mill Station LLC in a total amount of $8.73 for a police substation, detective unit, other related units, uses in Suite 123B of Grants Mill Station Shopping Center, and that's Chief Wiggins.
Both sides. It allows our detectives to have office space with us still maintaining the training room, which the fire department uses, the city uses as well. And allows us to have an interview room so we can speak with victims or suspects in a better area of the house of privacy. It's the lowest square footage price for up there. So basically it's just, and reasons going down, the lease is going down. We'll have to adjust our current budget and we'll reflect it on our next budget.
Councilman Coelho, any questions?
No more questions.
Councilman Box?
Are you gonna be presenting any renovations to us with the
Well,
chief?
very minor. We'll have in the hallway, I'm not familiar with, in the hallway, we'll have a door exiting from our narcotics officer side. Our other property crime detective on the right side.
Very good. Thank you, Chief.
Councilman Sims?
No questions. Thank you.
No question here. We agree to keep that on consent?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. All right, number 3, resolve the resolution 2022 R110, authorize Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. on his designee to execute an agreement with Square Capital LLC and any documents related thereof to provide for the online payment of registration fees for youth sports participant in Irondale. Mayor Stewart.
This was set up to be able to receive the registrations and the fees for the sports that we have here in the city of Irondale.
Okay. Any question, Councilwoman?
No.
Councilman Box?
No question.
Councilman Aaron?
None.
No question here. We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
All right. Regular agenda. Ordain the ordinance 2022-10, authorize the borrowing of $5,060,000 and issuance of $5,060,000 general obligation warrant series 2022 and approves the various agreements and action related thereto. Any questions? Mayor, you want to talk?
Number 4,
Yes.
this would help us to finalize the financing or the temporary financing for the purchase of the Zamora Temple, which closes on Monday.
Councilwoman Quaylar,
No
any
questions.
question? Councilman Box?
No, all my questions are.
Councilman, and this is an ordinance, so we have to take it through the process.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Number 5, ordain the ordinance 2022-11 modified appendix A zoning related to the many warehouses or self-storage facility. And that's Councilman Spivey on there. Any question from Councilwoman Quaylar?
None other than that we had an ordinance committee meeting and requested that these changes be made, and all of the changes have been made, and I'm satisfied with what we have now.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sim?
None.
No question. That's also another ordinance we have to take through the process. Number 6, ordain the ordinance 2022-12 rezones the property located at 4688 Overton Road, Irondale, Alabama 35210 from C1 Commercial District to C2 Commercial District. That's the city on there, Mayor. You want to comment on that one?
Which one is that?
Number 6.
Number 6. Yes, this has to do with Mr. Skidmore that just came up and
Right.
to do his presentation for getting that rezoned to C2. I did have a conversation with Darren. I snuck out in the hall to be able to call him to give him some information about the traffic side of it, as well as the amount of parking spaces that would be required for the number of people that was coming in. They did not have an opportunity to be able to evaluate that. So I was going to ask if maybe we can continue this to the next council meeting to give engineering a chance to be able to get with Mr. Skidmore to have that conversation about that piece of property before it's rezoned.
Okay. Councilwoman Quaylar,
I'm good with that, yes.
Councilwoman Box,
That's fine.
Councilman Sims,
I'm no
we good with that? Same question, no question. All right. So we agree to postpone this one until the next council meeting? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, number 7. Resolve that Resolution 2022 R109 makes a determination concerning the issuance of business license for a short-term rental to be located at 1901 4th Avenue South, Irondale, Alabama 35210 pursuant to Section 18, ordinance number 20747. Mayor Stewart.
I defer
Chief
to
Wiggins. Chief Wiggins, I'm sorry. Chief Wiggins.
The police department has been working with revenue, and we were advised, back in May, late May, new short-term rental. And, so our code enforcement officer, along with other, he's not here tonight, so I'm kind of reading the notes. Some of it I was a part of, but most of it he was a part of. The revenue department. And so, there was no current business license, or permit for this rental. During this time, those were out-of-state renters at this location. The owners were not there present during the stay. The owners live at 2304 3rd Avenue North. The ad on Airbnb stated entire house. I think y'all have a packet with this stuff.
We do.
But it had the entire house hosted by Jared. The calendar showed the house was rented on a short-term basis. On June 2nd, Officer Lally, he's the code enforcement officer, presented the owner with a notice to obtain a 2022 business license. The owner came and filled out a business license and permit application, which the owner signed the sworn statement as well as the affidavit of residence, stating that this rental will be an owner-occupied rental. The owner only notified the neighbor directly across the street and directly next door and across the street, and continued to rent. On June 7th, Officer Lawley, the code enforcement officer, presented the owner with a cease and desist. And since the notice to cease and desist was received by the owner, there continues to be out-of-state rental cars there. The ad at Airbnb was removed at this time. However, the house still seemed to be actively rented. The owners have been leaving one of their cars at the house, and the renters are parking in the garage, given the appearance that the owner is occupied. June 16th, a small white SUV was at the rental. On June 17th, a burnt orange Charger, and they were there through this weekend. And so you have a printout of the vehicles that were there, copies of the calendars for different dates, and also the copies of the business license. At this point, it's our belief that it was not following the guidelines, and not everyone was notified. And it's going to continue to be rented without actually having a license.
Councilwoman Quaylaw, you have any question?
No, I appreciate you giving us all this information as well as the documentation. One of the things that we want to get through to everyone is that we have an ordinance in place. You will follow the ordinance, and if you don't, we will not approve this. That message needs to be loud and clear. And it's clear to me here that there's enough evidence to deny this business license.
Councilman
My
Box?
comments.
Councilman Quayler pretty much covered all of it, I believe. I would just simply say that I want to make sure that the evidence we have in place does lock things down for us. And thank you, Lee Allison, for the work you've done on this as well.
Councilman Sims?
I was just curious if the owner's here. Were they
Oh.
going to speak? Or? Or waiting to opportunity to speak.
There'll be opportunity. Yeah. All right. No comments here. All right. All right. That's the last item on our agenda. At this time, can I get someone to approve the form of the agenda as stated?
Motion to approve the form of the agenda.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda with items 1, 2, and 3 on consent, items 4, 5, and 7 on the regular agenda, and item 6 be continued.
Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At this time, we have public comments on agenda items only. Now is your turn. I'm positive. Now it's your turn.
Good evening, Terry Johnson, 1504 Monticello Road. I know you guys are probably shocked to see me here tonight. Speaking on Resolution 2022 R109, we, the citizens of Irondale, are concerned with the safety of our neighbors and community. We're concerned with the lack of availability of affordable housing to families and or individuals who wish to make Irondale their home rather than an investment, are concerned with the impact of short-stay transient renters who have no vested interest in the community, are continuing to observe a trend of homes in Irondale being bought by investors with no knowledge or concern of the current ordinance, who continue to operate short-term rentals under false pretenses or who try to legitimize them after the fact, and are concerned that the current ordinance 2022-02, as it is written, is unenforceable by the city and its agents. Therefore, we request the council repeal Section 5-263 of Ordinance 2022-02, allowed rentals, and amend Section 5-264 of Ordinance 2022-02, prohibited rentals, to include short-term residential. Thank you.
Any other comments on the agenda items only?
I actually manage a short-term rental for my son-in-law, actually my daughter's fiance.
What is your name?
I'm sorry, Delane Krim. Never been to a city council meeting in my life, so I apologize. Tell me if I'm doing something wrong. I just wanted to explain why I'm here and what my concern is. I think, I'm not saying it's you guys because I was contacted by a man named Paul through Airbnb, and he, first of all, let me say we're fully licensed. Like, I have a license to manage it, and my son-in-law has it. It's his house. I just manage it for him on the websites, if that makes sense. So I was contacted by a man named Paul who lives here in Irondale. I know he's not truly a neighbor because he's not a neighbor, that they know what's going on and they know that it's a rental. I think honestly that he saw my son-in-law and assumed he was a renter. Anyway, my problem is that Paul is clearly watching the house. We've comically been calling him the Irondale Vigilante because he continues to falsify inquiries, like with fake dates, and contact us until, like, say, you can't do this. So he's watching, and my concern is my daughter is at that house a lot. It's my son-in-law and my daughter is there quite a bit. And I know at least one man who's watching her and watching what they're doing, and we're not doing anything wrong. They're not doing anything wrong. Like what he said to me when he contacted me was that we were being greedy, and and the irony is that when you click on Paul, who is part of the group that has come together to be against it.
Ms. Thane, let me pause for a second. All right, we're commenting on agenda items only.
Mm-hmm. Well, this goes with the short-term
You talk about the
rental.
short-term
Yeah,
rental. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So, for example, Paul, who is saying he's against Irondale being, allowing them, has 11 reviews himself. He uses Airbnb. And so I don't think I say all this to say, I think there can be a compromise. There are things like noise aware. That's something that you put, that if the noise gets above a certain level, obviously you know something's going on, more people than are supposed to be there. You put in place where if it's a one bedroom, there can't, like if you're only renting out one bedroom in your home, you can only have 2 people. Like I'm saying, I think the compromise can be that when you give a license to someone, they say, we will put in noise aware. We will, have a camera outside. We know if 2 people, like we know at all times who is coming and going. If I'm at work, if my son-in-law is at work, if they're bringing in more people than is supposed to be there, he can see it on his camera, not inside the house, but my point is, I think there are measures that can be put in place. I know that some things have happened, that there were a couple of, but at the same time, you bring anything to a neighborhood, there can be issues, like things can happen. I can promise you that of our guests that have stayed, we have had no one that, like, we're very careful about who comes.
Let's pause. That's your 2 minutes are up.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sorry.
You have a question?
I'd like,
Sure.
so this, your son-in-law's house, right?
Right.
In Irondale.
Right.
Does he live there?
Yes. And that's the problem. That's the thing about Paul. I think Paul, and I don't even know who Paul, I don't know his last name. I don't know who Paul is. I came to City Hall and they tried to look up to see what neighbor this might be that's harassing. I went to the police department because that's not okay. My daughter sometimes is there by herself. I don't want her being harassed. But
Question,
So
Council.
it is his primary residence.
It is.
He lives there. Is he there during the rental periods?
not always, but we specifically asked, when we got our license, we did specifically ask we asked if he had to be there every single night. And they said, like, literally asked that question here in City Hall, and they checked and said he does not have to sleep there he doesn't have to be there at all times that somebody's there. Like, it's,
I guess what I'm saying is that he's not just coincidentally traveling for the weekend that you haven't rented out.
no.
Thank you. If there's it.
Hey guys, sorry for the cell phone. I'm actually reading on behalf of another citizen who could not be up here tonight. My name is Mary Beth Butts. I live at 1506 Monticello Road, as most of you know. I'm commenting on agenda item number 7, the resolution 2022 R109. This is a statement from a fellow citizen. I'm sure that you all are aware that this pending application for short-term rental at 1901 4th Avenue South has exposed some of the problems it presents regarding the owner-occupied statement in the current ordinance. I believe that you all are also aware that the city didn't have to look very far into this particular case to see the non-compliance. Fortunately, the applicant in this case has, by their own admission, advertised on Airbnb that they would not be occupying the home during the short-term rentals. Unfortunately, this will not always be the case, and I'm sure the police chief will tell you that they do not have the resources to investigate each short-term rental for compliance. Anyone can sign an affidavit stating that they can occupy the home during short-term rentals, and the burden of proof is up to the city. It will be up to the city to constantly monitor each situation for non-compliance to make sure that the recent shootings involving Airbnb-type rentals never happens again. It's for these reasons I'm asking you not only to deny this permit, but to ban all short-term rentals in the city of Irondale. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else?
All right.
State your name for the
Hello, everybody.
records.
I'm Jared Jeffries. I Address is 1901 4th Avenue South, Irondale. So 2 minutes. I'm gonna
2
try-
minutes. Yes.
All right, so I guess to start off with, obviously some of the reports that were just read are true. I take credit for that. As far as with my family, me and my wife are concerned, that was just not doing enough due diligence. So I just wanted it to be noted that we're not trying to usurp the system or not pay taxes or not trying to do anything illegal. From my understanding, I didn't really know the requirements. So we put it up, and then we kind of got pushed back, and then unfortunately I kind of had to go and learn the stuff that was required then. So we plan on abiding by all of the ordinances and rules because now we're aware of them. We do have someone staying at the house right now. It's a friend of the family. It's not a short-term rental. That's all I'll say on that. I'll try to address the rest of my comments with the rest of the time, and I don't have much longer. But I feel like this is wrong for a lot of reasons. I won't be able to talk about them all today. But number one, I just feel like this is a missed opportunity for our city. I feel like short-term rentals have a lot of positive benefits, providing a need, providing a service. It does open up opportunities for future residents, future home buyers, future business owners. And most importantly, just from the amount of attention that's been put on my property, to be honest, I feel like it sets a bad precedent because business, okay, so we have the ordinance in place and that should be respected, and business licenses and permits and things are set in place, that should be respected, but.
That's your 2 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else like to speak on agenda items only? Oh, okay.
Tammy Hollingsworth, 1804 3rd Avenue, Irondale resident. I think I started this. We learned the hard way about Airbnbs and house parties and things I never knew of. I've watched a long-term neighbor put her house on the market this week. I'm asking the city council, we do not want to see the vacating of neighborhoods. We want neighbors. I know that Airbnbs can bring in fun people, but my neighbors would never shoot at me. My neighbors would not have to have an ordinance. I wouldn't have to worry who's in front of the house, behind the house, coming in at all hours. And I'm going to apologize to my Monticello people, but we were the first ones to hear this. Hold on, let me get it right. That's not a neighbor. A neighbor doesn't shoot at your house at night when they're leaving. So I'm asking y'all not to be the city council that starts the vacating of neighbors, and to be the city council that stood in with Vestavia, Mountain Brook, Homewood, everybody else who's putting the stiff ordinance on these things. We should have kept the fire sprinklers in. We should have made it harder because we can't manage it. Thank you.
I'm Cindy Dorsett. I live at 1507 Monticello Road. The main thing that I just want to say is about the short-term rentals is that there were about 5 of us who almost lost our lives from a shooting. We were blessed by God that put his angels in their wings to protect us. So we don't want short-term rentals in Iredale. We need a safe neighborhood to live in.
Good evening. Lou Ann Butts. I reside at 1522 Montevallo Road. My daughter is Mary Beth Butts. She lives on Monticello. She was involved in the shooting incident there. And thank goodness, like you say, Cindy, by the grace of God, we didn't bury somebody over there that night. What I'd like to do is actually commend the Irondale Police Department, because recently we had a female police officer that was coming through Montevallo Road just on her normal duty, and she saw a gentleman that she didn't recognize that shouldn't have been in that vicinity at that time. She talked to the gentleman and found out he was in an Airbnb behind us that we didn't even know existed. Had she not done her job the way she did it in order to protect us and at least let us know who's around, we would never have known that. It was a house that was being, we thought, worked on by the owners, but instead there was a person there that we had no idea that he was there for that. So my question to you is, go back to the table and listen to what these people are saying. Everybody deserves an opportunity, but we'd like to have the opportunity to make sure everybody gets a chance to live. Thank you.
Councilman London. Councilman London.
Yes.
For the purposes of this meeting,
Yes.
this is actually concerning the issuance of a business license under resolution, 2022
Yes.
R109, and the code sets forth pursuant to an ordinance adopted that you have to have a business license and a short-term rental, permit to have a short-term rental. And so therefore the city council should, consider here whether this particular, location complies with that particular ordinance.
Thank you. Yes. And we're gonna listen to the last one. If anyone else have anything different, we'll hear you. If not, we'll move to the next step. Okay.
Francesca Roscoe, 5018 Janet Lane. I sympathize with these people who live where this Airbnb is. My comment is, if these people who are so concerned about having Airbnbs, why don't they form a consortium, purchase that piece of property that's on Highway 78 between the barbecue spot and Chandler's Garage, build a place there that they can rent out as an Airbnb and comply with the city ordinance. Thank you.
Yes.
Regard to the business license. Councilman London? can I
Yes. You,
make a comment?
yes, you can.
For the benefit of everyone here, we're discussing whether or not to issue a business license. So if you're against issuing the business license, you need to stick to that. If you're in favor of issuing the business license, you need to also give us your comments there.
Correct.
That's what we're having the discussion about, whether or not to approve or deny the business license.
The other comments can come. The other comments can come on comments on non-agenda.
Non-agenda
Right,
items also.
non-agenda items, okay?
On agenda items only.
Hello, council and residents. My name is Mia Jeffries, and I am the owner of 1901 4th Avenue South. I don't know really what was said prior to, because I was out there with my kids, but I definitely, with coming to the last council meeting and seeing everybody's concerns, mostly yours, because you were the one mostly affected. This is like so nerve-wracking, sorry. Okay. And I definitely want to share my concern for you, concern for whoever has concerns as far as who's going to be there, what are they going to be doing, do these owners live here, do they live in another state? I personally have a business over there right next to Irondale Cafe. I own Beautiful People Permanent Makeup. I have 3 children. I care about Irondale. I care about the future of Irondale. I'm not trying to, you know, turn it into something crazy. Like, I don't know what you're thinking, but any concerns that you would have, me personally, you can come to me. This business license would be for my property. And I would do whatever I can to make concessions. You know, if one thing is to make concessions is no local residents. Therefore, everybody who's coming has to be from out of town. Therefore, you don't have as many instances of having, oh, all your friends are here, all of your enemies are here in the same place. So you're not having these problems. So there are certain things that can be put in place at these types of businesses that can make everybody feel safe, because the guests are just as scared coming into a neighborhood as residents are, because everybody's operating out of fear. Nobody knows who's coming to their neighborhood. They don't know where they're staying. The guests want to be safe. The residents want to be safe. Everybody at the end of the day wants the same thing. And if we can just communicate with each other, and at the end of the day, I feel like as a property owner, I do have certain rights, but also those things can't infringe upon public safety. So there has to be a delicate balance, which the council members have to ultimately, at the end of the day, kind of weigh between, yes, you have rights as a property owner, but you also have to keep the community safe. And we're trying to get information from local law enforcement on how many actual violations have occurred. You know, the biggest one being the shootings that have happened, but that's 2 instances compared to maybe there's been 2,000 stays, so, or 2,000 guests, or so the percentage of instances is
Miss-
really low, and you can't.
Miss, your 2 minutes is up.
Okay, so that was
But
just-
I do want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do your family live at that house 24/7?
Yes.
So what the information we got from our police officer and our chief are stating that you do not live at that house.
Oh, I don't know what was stated before. I wasn't in here.
That's the information we got, that your family do not live at that house, that you live on 4th Avenue North somewhere.
Well,
Third.
we used to live. Yeah, we used to live on.
What's the address?
And then. So we used to.
So you're telling the council that your family lives at that house 24/7?
Yes.
And you have not. You're also telling us that you have not rented that house out without a business license.
Well, no, in the beginning, before, I didn't even know that this was like a huge thing. My husband was heading it up. I obviously 24/7 down at my beauty studio. So he didn't know that all of this stuff is brand new. This permitting, this process, before you could just do what you wanted to do. And
No, not in Irondale. You don't do what you want to do
well,
in
not
Irondale.
with your property.
Not here. Maybe somewhere else, but not.
Okay.
We don't let you just do what you want to do in Irondale.
Okay,
That's
well,
not how we operate here.
I said the wrong thing.
You sure did.
Okay, well, so that was an oversight on, he was the one heading it up, but it's also my responsibility too. So I have to also take responsibility for not knowing what was needed prior to, but as soon as we found out, we submitted all the information we needed to submit, and we tried to get, it's not like we're we were not trying to run an underground, like
Okay.
something that we did not know that, I didn't even know about the shootings. I didn't know that there was all of this.
Okay,
I
you
mean,
made your point. Any
so-
question from my council? All right, thank you.
Well, so you used to live on the north side. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, we rent
Okay.
on the north side, but
So you were living on the north side.
we were, yes.
Now you've moved, you're saying to.
We bought this property, we moved, and then that's supposed to be our primary residence.
So when it's being advertised, it appears as a full house rental, yet you're there with your kids and your husband while there are people in the house. Is that correct?
Yeah, in the beginning, that wasn't our intention because we didn't know about the ordinances. So when we first put it up, we weren't planning on staying with our guests. But obviously that has changed since we have found out that
So did you buy the property as an intent to invest and it be an
No.
Airbnb? Or did you buy the property with intent to live there?
no, we bought the property with the intent to live there. And then we just thought, since it's the summertime, it's the perfect time to rent out the property for the summer. Because our intention ultimately is to live there full time. In the summer, when the kids are out of school, we can vacation and then rent out the property while it has its best use, because it has what people want for the summertime, which is a pool. So.
Councilman Box, you have a question? Okay, Councilman Coelho.
Things that really concern me is we heard from our police chief and the code enforcement officer where a vehicle that belonged to one of you was parked there in the driveway, and the renters were told to park in the garage, but none of you were there, and I struggle with that. And then
That's our family friend who's there right now. She's actually about to
right,
become a
your-
permanent resident.
Your vehicle's parked there, but you're not living there. And then the other thing that is concerning to me is that when you were told you needed a business license, and you're looking at the calendar, that house, those rooms are still being rented. And for me, as one who is told that there are some laws that you need to follow, I would follow those laws. I would not continue to do what I'm not supposed to be doing. So I
Right.
struggle with that, as well as this other arrangement.
If you don't mind, can I speak on her behalf? I know a little bit more about the situation.
I mean,
Well, I do want to say I agreed with a lot of what you said. I'm probably the only pro council person that I think we can find a solution for Airbnbs that allows them to exist while making everyone safe and happy. But you've also got to follow the rules that we've created, and we totally stopped them in January. Took a couple months or more before we enacted the new laws. Are you a licensed real estate agent?
I am.
So, I mean, you should have done due diligence and known what you were doing. And
Yeah,
so
you're right.
if you'd have come first, I feel like maybe it'd been something we could have figured out, but I have a hard time now trying to wrap my head around it being a possibility.
If I could respond to that, so around the country, obviously there's different ordinances and requirements. It's not just a fluid thing overall. So that was kind of my reason, because there's certain places that don't require a business license or permit at all. But like I said, that was my fault, because we should have did that due diligence. But as soon as we were served the first time saying that we had to get a business license, that same day we came down and did the application, asked all the questions, all of that. We had stuff booked for the rest of the month already. That wasn't something that happened after the fact. that was, you know, from the same previous, from when we started. Like I said, it was still our fault, you know, because we didn't do the necessary research and all of that. But we haven't been trying to cheat the system. Like, we've been living in Irondale for 4 years. Our 2 baby boys that was just in here, both of them was born in the house in Irondale. She has a business in Irondale. I'm not saying we love Irondale more than anybody else, but we love and appreciate Irondale. We're not gonna do anything that brings harm or danger to the citizens because our kids live here. Like, y'all, I'm pretty sure somebody in here has seen us walking around with the kids, you know. So charge it to our head, charge it to my head, not my heart. And then, like I said, as a friend of the family, staying at the house right now, we're renting, and the house just came up. So, some of y'all may know the house. We're renting. The house came up. We put an offer in like really quick, and we were still under a lease at the rental property. So we're living in a house, and we just bought this house. We're not rich. We're not wealthy. So we just tried to be creative in a way to just, how can we even just stay afloat to move from this house to the other house? So Airbnb was we just used Airbnb as a platform. We got the notice from the police officer, said, hey, y'all need to get your business license. Like I said, went that same day, applied, asked all the questions that I could ask. We had until the 9th. I remember it was the 7th. We got served again with a cease and desist, which I didn't understand that because we hadn't even been able to exhaust all the time to get the business license, and we had already did that. So I apologize for how it may be coming across. We're not some out-of-town investors just trying to use no, we're just a family just trying to make it, trying to exercise our ability, the property that we have, just to keep our head above water and just continue raising our family. Like, that's it. We're not trying to do nothing malicious. And I don't think anybody most of the people who have short-term rentals, they're just trying to occupy a platform, you know, and I understand. I know a lady had a close call, and that's unfortunate. And if that was me, I would be upset. If that was my kids or something like that. But if somebody uses Facebook or Twitter to go and do a mass murder, I don't think we should blame Facebook or Twitter as the reason why people got killed. More people are likely to get bit by a dog in Irondale, for sure, than get shot. I got you, but we're not talking about banning dogs. Like, that would be ridiculous, you know. So I feel like this is new. It's fluid. We're still not used to everything that's going on, but I feel like just like we're coming together now, I feel like we can come together as residents, as neighbors, and we can talk about the best way. Because
Mr. Jefferson, let's give you 2 minutes. Councilman Box, you got a point.
Is anybody else have any questions for them? I want to discuss a few things with Ms. April, if that's perfect.
That's great. All right, not this time. All right, we have one more hand. Yes. 2 more hands. Is there anyone else going to talk about this property or another agenda item? This one. Are you going to say anything different about this item? Because I think the council has heard enough of this particular agenda item, so we can move forward. If there's anyone else want to talk about another agenda item at this time. All right, this is the last one. 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Mike Kofsky, 1830 Fifth Avenue South. I'm actually a neighbor to these folks, and I appreciate the emotional appeal and the let's all come together and all that, but that woman's lying. Just about everything she said was completely untrue because I'm an observer.
Respectfully, sir. Hey, sir. Count. Order. You talk to us.
Yes.
Talk to us, not to them. Thank you.
That's really disrespectful.
Yeah.
I was kind to you from day one.
Sir.
You can't just call a person a liar. Like,
Sir. Order. Point of order. All right. Talk to us.
Yes, sir.
All right. Not to them.
Yes, sir. As a neighbor, I have observed the activities over there. I do have my own concerns. I'm a new resident of Irondale, so sort of kind of walked into this, but it is basically next door to where I live. There have been many rentals. I don't know the exact dates and the number of. I've seen the dates. Quite frankly, when I heard the Chief Wiggins description, I mean, That's what he said is exactly accurate. What I heard from her isn't even remotely true. For my own observations, I don't go over there every day, but I do go around the block. I go on walks just to see who's staying there. I was at the last city council meeting where this was discussed. So I appreciate the emotional appeal, but the facts are what they are. And from my perspective, they just simply have ignored the ordinances until they got caught. And now they're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do at this point, get them to reconsider. But when I heard the chief's report, it was 100% accurate. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Order. All right. No more comments on this item. Anybody else have a comment on any other agenda item? If not, Councilman Box, you want to speak later? Good.
I'll just get with.
You'll get with her afterwards?
Because I think we've still got comments on none.
No. That's afterwards, yes.
My question is basically regarding the issuance of the license. April, we've heard some citizens come in and it was a little bit out of time asking us to retool the ordinance. If we issue a license tonight for this and 2 weeks from now, then can we repeal this ordinance, retool this ordinance and do completely away with Airbnbs and VRBOs? How does that affect if we issue a license tonight?
Well, there are already existing licenses also.
I understand. How does that affect all of the license? If we come back 2 weeks or 30 days from now and shut Airbnbs down?
That license would be effective for the term of the license,
So,
which would be, until the end of this year.
so every license that's already in effect or any that are issued from now until we retool an ordinance would remain in effect for the period of the license. Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right. We've had comments on the agenda items only. All right. At this time, let's finish this. We have the consent agenda. I guess I want to make a motion on the regular agenda items.
I make a motion that ordinance number 2022-10 be read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion we suspend all rules and prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance number 2022-10.
Second.
Roll call. Councilwoman Quaylar.
Yes.
Councilman Box.
Yes.
Councilman Sims.
Yes.
And me, yes, also.
Finally, make a motion that ordinance number 2022-10 be adopted and approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 5.
I make a motion that ordinance 2022-11 be considered read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2022-11.
Second.
Roll call. Councilwoman
Yes.
Box.
Yes.
Yes.
Me, yes, also.
I make a motion that ordinance 2022-11 be approved and adopted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Number 6.
I make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, we
Oh,
got
number 6 has been postponed. Number 6 been postponed.
Make a motion that resolution 2022-R-109 be denied.
Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstain.
The motion would be that the business license be denied.
Yes. I make a motion that resolution 2022-R-109 concerning the issuance of a business license for a short-term rental to be located at 1901 4th Avenue South, Irondale, Alabama, 35210 be denied.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Got one abstention. Doing roll call. Okay. Okay. Go back to the consent agenda. I get a
Make
motion.
we pass the consent agenda items 1, 2, and 3.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
At this time, we have public comments to the council of non-agenda items. Can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good.